And our presentation for today is going to be a forward-looking on this year's VRFB's marketing efforts. Our approach for the presentation today will go into the what and the how and the why factors of our approach for 2021, which can be broken down into what, so our theme for the year, what it will be, and the supporting factors around it. The how, so the theme will be met through various marketing efforts and materials. And then the why, like why we've taken this approach and what success will look like. So before we go into the presentation, we want to start today with introducing our 2021 theme with an animation that we have named VRFB, Enabling the Future of Green Energy. John, can I please ask you to play the animation? Thank you. So as you will see, this animation is an extension of Texas A&M's presentation. Our objectives there have been to show, in a more visual way, that the VRFB produces less carbon than a lithium battery when powered to a renewable source. So this animation is still a work in progress. There are a couple of updates that we want to do and some content that we want to add. It will be shared with everyone on this call once it's completed. So we know that renewable energy sources are often referred to as green energy. What we would like to see happening is for the VRFB to also be included into this definition. However, before we can actually get into that, let us first just understand the importance of green energy. So what is actually driving the transition to green energy? Well, there are a number of global matters that have made transition to green energy imminent. In 2020, Forbes reported that wind and solar energy prices had fallen significantly lower below coal and gas generation. So this shows there's now a cost incentive to investing in green energy. With cost of generating energy from coal and gas now being higher than renewable energy, the phasing out of these is unavoidable. So there's also the ESG frameworks. These are being embedded into business models all over the world. Now more than ever, we think that businesses are forced to relook at their initiatives towards reducing carbon emissions. Another thing that we have looked into is the European Commission's plans to propose EU sustainable battery pools. Again, I think now more than ever, the sustainability of green energy generation and supporting energy storage technology will become a key deciding factor for their deployment. Another factor is if you read the UN's Sustainability Development Goal, particularly number 7, that advocates for access to affordable, reliable, sustainable, and modern energy for all. So the increased adoption of green energy will work well towards achieving this goal. So with all of these kind of factors put in together, brings us to our theme for the year when it comes to marketing effort of the VRFB, which will be advancing green energy through the VRFB.
Thank you, Gabriella. John, if you could please move on to the next slide. So as Gabriella has mentioned, our approach for this presentation will be looking at the what, how, and why factors that have informed our approach of this presentation. When we came to think about what we wanted our theme for this year to be, we had to consider what it is that we want to communicate. In the last 3 years, we have effectively communicated about the VRFB and its benefits. And going into the new year, into 2021, we want to build on this. Advancing green energy through the VRFB was therefore a very fitting theme for us, and building up on supporting factors that Gabriella mentioned earlier, our decision for the theme was also supported by research that we have done, and what we have come across is that leading institutions such as the London Stock Exchange have included battery technology as one of the 5 ESG themes shaping our future. In addition to this, the International Renewable Energy Agency has estimated that by 2030, renewable energy will be used to generate 57% of global power supply, which also supports, a statement that was made earlier in the presentation by one of the panelists from China on the growth of renewable energy. And the last point here that we felt supports our theme was looking at, utilities are now looking for solutions to green their grid systems. We know that due to issues of load management, we know that this conversation cannot be had without exploring energy storage. In other words, the VRFB. John, if you could please go into the next slide. What we ultimately want to convey is that the VRFB is the missing piece to complete the green energy equation. As you see on the slide, we have shown that what exactly makes up a green energy system equation. And what we want to convey, and I'll repeat the statement that I made, is that you will have the green energy sources, but without the vanadium redox flow battery, we cannot effectively have a green energy system. And that is ultimately what we want to convey through our theme for the year. John, if you could please go on to the next slide. We will now look at the how approach to our presentation. And this goes into how we want to implement the theme for the year. And this will be done through various marketing materials. What we have done as well is that we have put together sub-themes that support the overall theme, and all of the material that we're putting out will be categorized according to the themes, as you can see on the screen here. For example, under sustainable solution, what we will be looking at is putting out content that shows the sustainability aspect to the VRFB. And an example of this is the video that we showed at the start of this presentation. Looking at forward thinking, we will include the write-up of thought pieces that support the overall theme around green energy and ensuring that the VRFB is included in these conversations. An example of this is that we have recently drafted a thought piece titled Greener Generation, Greener Storage, Vanadium's Role in Lowering the Carbon Impact of Energy. And what this thought piece has done is to show to what extent the vanadium redox flow battery has a role to play in reducing carbon emissions. And this is the type of content around forward thinking that we want to put out going forward. And lastly, when we talk about increasing visibility, what we want to see here is not only increasing the visibility of the VRFB, but increasing the visibility of the VRFB industry as a whole. And how we aim to do that is through profiling of actual VRFB case studies. And what will also come in handy from the presentations we saw earlier from the panelists in China is getting some of that data in China to show that VRFBs are not just a technology in theory, but they are actual deployments in the world. And to build on this, what we also want to do is to leverage off our current social media presence. John, if you could please go into the next slide. Thank you. So now we spoke about the materials, but what we also need to account for is how we plan to distribute all the materials that we just spoke about. And what we want our focus for the year is for our distribution plan to be a lot more targeted. We talk about green energy, and that is quite a very broad topic. And what we want to ensure in our distribution is that within that topic being broad, that we also achieve that within our distribution. And when we move on to the next slides, we'll show examples of who we will be looking to target in this year for our marketing. So as I mentioned, on this slide, we show examples of who we refer to as the global energy community. We spoke a lot about, how the VRFB can support renewable energy, and also again, referring to the earlier presentations, that there's a compelling case for VRFBs within the renewable energy space. And therefore, we deemed it very necessary that within our targets of distribution, that we target renewable energy associations, which would also include companies that are operating in the renewable energy space. But going beyond this, we'll also look at utilities. We'll look at impact investor funds. Most of these impact investor funds are, advocating for green energy or for low carbon energy. And, we feel that there is a target there within that category. And lastly, we'll also be looking at media that would in general report on energy storage, energy news, and renewable energy. Thank you, John. You can go into the next slide. So we looked at the what and the how, and now we go into the why aspect of our approach for the year. And this is to look at why we want to be implementing the theme that we just discussed and why the marketing materials are so important. And what we want to outline here is that the objectives that we have set for the year will inform the why part for us. It is our hope that at the end of this year and beyond, we would have effectively positioned the VRFB as an all-round green energy storage solution that is ideal to greening the grid, and that is supported by an industry that is committed to positively impacting the environment. For us, this is what success will look like. And in addition to this, this will be supported by ongoing measurement of our distribution of our marketing materials. John, if you could please go on to the next slide. And lastly, this brings us to our last slide. What we hope to see as well is that all of our efforts will verify that indeed the VRFB is the world's most advanced green energy storage system. And this is a stamp of approval and a verifying stamp that indeed the VRFB is a leader in the energy storage community. And lastly, we did mention that we will be putting out marketing materials in this year. Please do follow the Vanitex social media accounts on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook. Additionally, we will be sending our newsletters, so please send an email to us at the esc@vanitec.org email to subscribe to our mailing list. And that marks the end of our presentation. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you very much. I know we're about out of time here. A couple of quick more things. We are still anticipating doing another session yet this summer in conjunction with the International Flow Battery Forum. I mentioned earlier we might do something in China this fall when we have our meeting. And after today's call, you're going to get a survey about what you think our 2021 priorities should be. So please fill that out and get it back to us. That would be great. I want to thank everyone for your attendance today. I apologize for the issues with the Zoom platform. We kept having our moderators in China knocked off, which had to restart things. I believe that the beginning part of the session did not get recorded because of that, but I think all of from the moment we started the question and answer session for the Chinese panel, that has all been recorded and will be uploaded to the Vanatech website, along with the full PowerPoint presentation later today. So take a look out for that, please, as well. Mikhail, anything you want to say at the end here?
No, just thank you to all the panelists. This is like overwhelming as to how interesting and insightful the presentations were. There's a lot of content, and hopefully all the participants found this helpful, and we'll probably get a lot of reuse out of it over the next few months, and inform what we talk about 6 months from now in northern hemisphere summer, southern hemisphere winter, and yeah, thank you very much to the presenters and to the participants to make this like amazing session.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, John, to you too for being the MC.
I'm not a big fan of Zoom today. All right, thank you, everyone. I appreciate your time today. Stay safe, everyone, and look out for the survey just after we get off here. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.